Hello, I'm Pat Dennis, and you're listening to Creative Elk's Theatre of Thrills podcast, where today I'm talking about the film The Boy, which was very nearly a good movie, until the final act where it completely shat the bed. What is this movie? Well, it is, from the offset, a haunted doll movie, which would have been great. I wish they had committed to this. The storyline, the premise, is that a nanny who is fleeing a dark past that will be slowly revealed to you throughout the film has taken up a job babysitting a boy for a rich family. But as it turns out, the boy is a porcelain doll. And he looks appropriately creepy. I mean, all porcelain dolls are a little bit creepy, but this one is young boy sized, and it looks like Damien from The Omen. So it's a real creepy doll. And you spend the first, few minutes of the film, maybe first, quarter of the film, wondering if the doll's really haunted, or if the parents are just crazy. You know, you assume the doll's going to be haunted because the parents immediately go on holiday once the nanny gets there. And if the doll's not going to be haunted, then nothing's going to happen in the film. So then ghost stuff starts happening. And rather rapidly, the nanny is willing to believe it's a ghost. There's maybe 2 scenes where she's like, the doll's not haunted, I'm cracking up. But then the doll makes her a sandwich, and she's like, yeah, this is a pretty good sandwich. No regular doll could make a sandwich this good. This has got to be a haunted doll. And I found that refreshing. Instead of being scared of the haunted doll, she sort of starts feeling sorry for it straight away. And is like, this is a dead kid stuck in a doll. I'm going to do my best to take care of it, make good of a bad situation. I'm getting paid to look after the haunted doll anyway, so I might as well do it. And that's really the next portion of the film. It's just her, the haunted doll, and the grocery man who she's befriended and is quickly becoming a love interest, just investigating what's up with this haunted doll, debating about what they should do about this haunted doll, what obligation can you have to a haunted doll? Can you really just keep looking after it for months on end? How well can you look after a haunted doll? Could the haunted doll be dangerous? And that was refreshing as far as, horror movies in general go, haunted house movies and haunted doll movies go. They weren't really afraid of it. They were straight away just being like, okay, well, what do we do about this and how can we help it? So I was really enjoying The Boy for how different it was in that sense. And then the nanny's dark past catches up with her. It turns out that she is running away from an abusive ex-partner who's now shown up at the mansion that she's babysitting at. He won't leave. He's demanding that she come home with him. He's being pretty aggressive towards both her and the grocery man love interest. And it gets really to the point that things are going to get interesting when our protagonist asks the haunted doll for help. She's like, hey, haunted doll, this guy, he's going to try to take me away. I need your help. And the haunted doll starts haunting this ex-partner. The haunted doll writes creepy stuff on the wall and fills his bag with dead rats. And this is where I was getting excited because I thought, oh my god, the final act of this movie is going to be the protagonist and the love interest working together with a haunted doll to defeat the ex-boyfriend. That's going to be great. But unfortunately, the final act twist comes in, and it's the dumbest, laziest shit you'll ever see. As it turns out, during a conflict with the ex-lover, a mirror is smashed, revealing a secret passage behind it. And it's not a haunted doll at all, it's a dude living in the walls. Or, more specifically, it's the son, the grown-up adult son, that we were told died years ago and that the doll is supposed to be a representation of. Instead of him being dead and is haunting this doll, he's actually alive and lives in the walls of the house, and for some reason is going out of his way to make people believe that this doll, which exists for some reason, embodies his spirit. It's just so dumb. It's such a disappointing waste of a movie. Instead of it being a refreshing twist on the haunted doll genre, it just turns into yet another person living in the walls movie. I've seen so many of these movies. I saw like 6 of them last year where the twist is that there's someone living in the walls, and it's just so tiresome. It's one of the laziest, most overdone tropes in modern horror, and I was just so let down that this was the twist. Beyond it being boring and just so overdone, it also doesn't really make any sense. Like, why is the son living in the walls? For what reason is he hiding in the walls of the mansion and pretending to be a haunted doll? What possible reason is there for this happening? It's a mansion. Like, even if the family wanted to hide him away because he's been disfigured, you assume he is because he's wearing a porcelain mask the whole time, then why wouldn't they just hide him in one of the many rooms of the mansion? Or even go to the trouble of walling up a room in the mansion? It doesn't make sense that he's like hiding in a secret apartment built within the walls of the house. And there's not really any motivation given for any of it. They mention vaguely that he was odd and that he possibly killed a girl, but he was a kid at the time, so like, you know, that's no reason to fake his death and hide him in the walls of your house. The dad mentions that this situation came about bit by bit in reference to them talking to the haunted doll, but that's no explanation as to why the son is hiding in the walls of the house and pretending to be a haunted doll. The movie would have made a modicum of more sense if there was no doll involved, if the boy was just hiding in the walls and they thought it was haunted because of the noises. But why is he also pretending to be a doll? He's going out of his way to like move this doll around and speak with this doll and trick people into believing that the doll is alive. But there's no reason ever given for any of these decisions, or why his parents went along with it. They write a letter to the son, so obviously they knew that he wasn't a haunted doll and was just living in the walls. So why have they gone along with this charade this whole time? Why have they been treating the doll as if it's their son, if they know that the son's actually hidden in the walls of the house? None of it makes any sense. And like in his weird secret hidden room, he's got like a fridge and everything. So did he steal that fridge from a different room of the house, or did like moving men help him carry it up through the secret passages into his secret bedroom? It just raises so many questions. But anyway, because of this stupid twist, the final act of the film is, instead of it being a cool team up between the protagonist, her love interest, and a haunted doll to take down her abusive ex-boyfriend, it's just your standard end of movie horror chase scene. The man in the mask, who's been living in the walls, has unusually superhuman strength, and he's beating up the 3 people and kills the ex-boyfriend and beats up the grocery man and is chasing down the protagonist like she's a final girl. And then she defeats him by using the mother tone on him and talking to him like he's a little boy, which, by the way, is also the exact way that Friday the 13th Part 2 ends. You know, it's both of them, a killer with supernatural strength, the mental capacities of a child, and a mask, or a burlap sack in the case of Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2, being defeated by essentially getting tricked into thinking he's being berated by his mother. It's the same thing. We've seen it all before. And while he's disarmed by being talked to like he's a little boy, she stabs him and runs away. And that's the end of the film. It's a really disappointing generic ending to what could have been a really fantastic twist on the haunted doll subgenre of horror. I'm I'm just so disappointed that they decided to pull a Ryan Johnson and subvert our expectations at the expense of making a satisfying movie. Like, yeah, I didn't expect this is how the movie would end because it doesn't make sense and is just entirely unsatisfying. Good job. You tricked me into thinking you had made a good movie. And it is really unfortunate because it just totally fumbled the ball at the very end there. Like, I was so close to singing this movie's praises and recommending it to everyone the whole time. I was like, wow, the creepy mansion is really unsettling, and the take on the genre is really fresh, and the haunted doll is really unsettling. And then the ending comes, the final act kicks in, and you're like, wow, that was just a total letdown. So unfortunately, I do not recommend The Boy from 2016. Its ending is so disappointing that it makes the first, 3/4 of the film not really worth watching. Watch a different movie, watch a different haunted doll movie, watch Annabelle. At least Annabelle doesn't reveal itself as having a guy in a wall. And with that said, I am Pat Dennis. You've been listening to the Theatre of Thrills podcast, and tune in next week where I'll talk about a different movie.